Hello, welcome back. Good evening. Today, Bitcoin is still 94,000. We didn't get much movement ever since yesterday, but at least we stopped dropping. We didn't drop as low as the 92,000 that I was expecting at the very least. We just kind of came back to our little consolidation zone that we were the week before, right? Around this 93, 94, 95,000 zone. At the end of the week last week, we did kind of pump above that. 96,000 was broken. We were approaching 98,000, but we did not break out. We only reached a high of 97,857. From there, we have been decaying, and an uptrend readjustment would have to be made, but we would have to confirm the next leg up. Otherwise, this uptrend would essentially be broken and a new downtrend would be formed from here. But it's still a little too early to tell right now. We do need a breakout of one of these two levels. Either this Fibonacci zone I have at 96,400 serves as a resistance, or a support level around this area right over here. I'll call it 92,000s. If we break below 92,000, you can start expecting a continuation of the downward movement. What can catalyze that? The FOMC meeting that will be happening the day after tomorrow on Wednesday. Yeah, well, hang on a sec. Man, it's so hot in my room. Okay, so that's the kind of what we're expecting is low volatility until that day comes. We're going to have to wait, basically, until Wednesday. Tomorrow, I guess, will just be a bit cautious. Not many trades will be happening, in my opinion. Like, the volume will be low in anticipation for what's going to happen by Wednesday. We do know for sure rates will be kept. We're not going to get we're not going to see a rate cut. We're not going to see a rate hike. It's just going to stay the same. What's going to matter the most, and I've said this before, is what Jerome Powell says 30 minutes after that announcement comes out at 2 p.m. So 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or daylight saving, whatever. Jerome Powell will come out and say something. It's looking like the economy is getting better, and inflation is no longer as much of a problem, so we could start seeing some rate cuts coming soon that would make the markets go up. If he gives us a surprise rate cut, there's still a tiny chance of that, but it never really happens. If I check the percentages right now, we're looking at a 2.7% chance of us getting a rate cut. I mean, if you're a gambler, I guess you could try going for that. As long as he does keep his target of at least 2 rate cuts in this year, I think markets should still be on their merry way upwards. Even if it's not immediate, in the long term, we will still be maintaining that because we're looking at a projection for the whole year. What we're currently seeing right now, 1 rate cut, 95% chance of that happening, not in the next meeting of June, but in the meeting after that in July. 70% chance of getting another rate cut in September. October, 68% chance of staying the same. So that's 2 rate cuts. And then a 3rd rate cut, 97% chance of that happening in December. So it's looking still okay. Likely the fact that we will be getting 3 rate cuts this year. Originally, I mean, we saw periods of time where it looked like 4 rate cuts were possible, but now that kind of has dropped down to 3 possible rate cuts this year, which is still fine, right? If it's at 2, it'll be like the market would take it as, okay, we kind of the Fed already expected that, and they're giving that 2 rate cuts given a worst case scenario, even if tariffs end up being bad for the economy. But they won't be, especially in the long term. A lot of trade deals are starting to happen, as Trump mentions. China, of course, cannot survive this long, so they're going to have to come to a deal soon. And Canada, actually, Mark Carney will be meeting with Trump tomorrow to discuss. Even Trump doesn't even know what they're going to discuss. It's like, oh, he's coming over tomorrow, but I don't know what he wants to talk about. Maybe to make a deal. I don't know. So it's like, yeah, who did we really vote in? We'll see what he's all about. This will be his little test run. I still don't have my full faith or confidence in this Mark Carney guy, new Prime Minister of Canada. Well, he was already Prime Minister, I guess, technically, put in by the Liberal Party after Justin Trudeau resigned, but nobody really elected him. He picked a good time to be elected, And the rest is history. I'm not going to get too much into that. You already know my point of view from that. So, yeah, that's what we got for the price action for Bitcoin. I would feel I'm going to readjust this for now, right? I like this little triangle pattern that we're seeing over here. Or we break out upwards to try to approach this 96,000 resistance, or we break out from this downward to test the 93,000, we'll call it. See if we're able to break down further from that, which would confirm the fact that super trend would then flip bearish like that. And we would start having to draw a new downtrend from there. If that is the case, if price manages to like drop here and then break out further down. So we'll see what happens. I'm keeping this here for now. It's looking a little green. Not too bad. 94,716. We're up 0.32% today. Ethereum's up 0.27%. Not a lot of difference for Ethereum. Very, very flat. 1,816 current price. Everything kind of still stays the same here for my technical analysis of Ethereum. So yeah, we'll keep this a little uptrend here for now. I don't necessarily see a shorter term downtrend. I'm seeing a couple of resistances above 2,000 and pivot levels over here, which can easily be broken. And then we do have a major downtrend over here, which we'd have to fight after we break approximately 2,000, right? 2,100. Maybe around that zone. And I think we do have a longer term. No, we don't. That's the longest term downtrend that I have, which is good, right? A breakout of this can start giving us chances of seeing a potential alt season this year, which is what many people are hoping for and expecting, right? It has to happen. It's cyclical. It must happen, right? But will all altcoins have their season? I don't think so, and I'll explain more in detail as to why I think that is. Stay tuned for later on. I do have a post I want to talk about in regards to that. Let's move on to Solana. Solana absolutely does have a great chance of having its nice alt season. We are all expecting that. We use this support level very well at 142. Our current price is 146. It's up 1% today. We're testing this resistance, tiny pivot resistance at 146.94. So, you know, it's still looking healthy for Solana. No readjustments had to be made yet. So, easily we can reach our 153 target, which is the first resistance that we have from pivots. Looking good for Solana. Overly optimistic I am. We're in the middle of the RSI as well, though. So, it just goes to show the uncertainty that we have for this current market. It's like, what do we do? Do we buy? Do we sell? Do we just do nothing? It seems like that's what the market is doing. They're doing nothing in preparation for this FOMC meeting. Will we be getting a rate cut next time or not? Obviously, we will still be getting rate cuts later in the year. People are just impatient. That is just how Wall Street works. So they're just going to immediately react and be butthurt for like a week. While, after we get the news of, if it's bad news, we'll stay down for a while. But ultimately, we will recover and continue heading higher because of other macro factors, right? In the longer term, is what you have to pay attention to. It's also explaining the reason here why I switched to like a 4-hour chart for my analysis instead of looking at 1-hour charts, 5-minute charts for entries, stuff like that. I feel like you're just tossing a coin up in the air when you're going too small into the time frames. I decided to zoom out. I see the bigger picture now. I'm practically more correct in my analyses. It also makes me more confident when entering the market when I see oversold conditions, because I know for sure they are actually oversold conditions, right? You can see oversold conditions and those will be false signals in the 5-minute chart multiple times, right? Here, for instance, I mean, it kind of works, but like in the long term, you're going to get a lot of false signals. That doesn't really happen much in the 4-hour chart, but you do have to make sure that you are in the correct trend, right? You don't want to be entering oversold and then it will continue to be oversold as markets continue dropping. You don't want to be entering in that scenario. Of course, you would just rather abstain from entering any positions. It's part of what I'm trying to develop my strategy to be. Speaking of, I did not do any coding of it recently, so I'm probably going to have to start getting back into that. What have I been doing? I have been studying, really. Analyzing stuff in the markets, my strategies, analyzing crude oil mainly too. I've been looking up a lot of information about crude oil. I'm looking to trade commodities as well as cryptocurrencies. I don't really like stocks too much, but I still do invest in them nonetheless. I do like to diversify and go into things that are safe. Well, not really safe, really. I'm a bit more of a risk taker sometimes. I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm doing with the stocks, but it's fine. I do like to analyze them nonetheless because it gives me a broader view of what Wall Street is doing. Let's move on to SUI now. I drew a little downtrend that seems to be... It could be easily broken, right? We did have a nice recovery from SUI, probably one of the top gainers of today. 4% up, $3.39. Slowed down at a high of $3.49. That's pretty good. Thanks to this pivot level, it seems like. So, yeah, we are still maintaining our uptrend. It's still absolutely valid, right? We're above this zone right over here. As long as we're above that, we're still in an uptrend. If we do break out from here toward the downside, that's a danger zone. Because now this downtrend would prevail. And, you know, we'd have to accumulate at a zone like down here maybe. As long as we do maintain this uptrend, it should still be fine. Like I said, even if we do get a bit of a down movement from here for SUI, like if this happens, we get a downtrend like this, if price continues dropping, we can get a refill of our liquidity around this zone and then start to bounce back up, right? Reaccumulate. By then, super trend would meet up around here as prices continue to drop, and we would coincide with this level and break out of this downtrend and make a next leg up, which would be great. Maintain as long as this uptrend is maintained, because SUI had a large run, so a correction is absolutely necessary for SUI. This is a possible scenario that can play out. It's one that I would be expecting and would not surprise me. And I'm willing to, you know, reaccumulate if that is the case. I'd accept this gift of reaccumulating down over here. We're looking at about under 270 below that. Looks good. I've always said before, right, like when I was streaming all the way back here, anytime it was dipping under $3, so like this area right over here, was a good time to buy, right? Until we eventually broke out from that, unfortunately, and kept heading downward. I actually ran out of money, so I couldn't DCA as much. I did enter one at 240, I think, and I think I still have it active. So that one's in mega profit right now, but I also did have some other entries around the $3 zone, so those are a bit mixed. I did not enter above $4. I don't have that many entries in it either way. So if it does come back down to this area right over here, I'll be happy to buy, no problem. XRP $2.13. It is actually down in compared to the rest, 1.30%. A bit disappointing. Look at this. We have, I guess this is an official confirmation of a break, you know, breaking the uptrend. We're now, you know, technically still in the downtrend for XRP. So thanks to the super trend, it helps me identify where we can draw these lines. So it's going to have to be over here like that. All right, so what's next for XRP? Can we immediately bounce back up by using this resistance, 209? That can happen, but it's not likely. We could, right? Depending on how the rest of the market reacts, especially with FOMC, and I think we're still going to stay around this zone. If nothing really happens, we can keep this level approximately. This is going to be our resistance for now, if nothing happens, and you can expect us to meet that area right over here, given good FOMC projections. If not, we can start continuing a little bit lower. I think this downtrend can easily be broken, but it's going to keep us down here for a moment for XRP until we meet the next downtrend breakout, which is likely going to be around this area. Again, at 230. 230 seems to be a very important resistance for XRP, so we should be paying attention for that. Not looking good for XRP, and I made a safe bet by going with SUI instead of XRP. There's just really not much going on. They got the futures ETF that was supposed to be released, but they ended up delaying that. Spot ETF, we still have no updates on that either. Speaking of spot ETFs, Litecoin was supposed to be getting one. And it seems like that has completely been erased by now. We had some optimism coming back up. We slowed down over here around 91. And ultimately, we are kind of breaking this uptrend here. Bit interesting to see what happens with Litecoin. This downtrend is gone. Do we have a longer term downtrend? We don't. So I think we can still maintain this level. This area right over here is critical for Litecoin, above $80. As long as we can maintain that, we'll still be in an uptrend. We can just do an easy readjust and continue upward from there, hopefully. The reason why Litecoin is dropping today is because of this. Securities Exchange Commission has delayed Canary's spot Litecoin ETF. So once again, it's just happening over and over. Every ETF that gets pushed forward just keeps on getting delayed and delayed every time. Until when? I don't think we have that information unless Grok tells me. Yeah, so it was originally due May 5th, which is today, Cinco de Mayo, by the way. Happy Mexican Day. It's now extended to May 26th for public input and regulatory compliance, reflecting heightened scrutiny of crypto products amid concerns over fraud and market manipulation. Oh, come on. For Litecoin, really? It also aligns with a broader SEC pattern of postponing the other altcoin ETF decisions, as we saw with Solana, XRP, Dogecoin. There are analysts noting the agency often uses the full 240-day review window, signaling cautious regulatory oversight under new leadership. Thanks to this, Litecoin's price has dropped over 3% following the announcement, highlighting investor sensitivity to regulatory uncertainty, a trend mirrored in past crypto ETF delays, where initial price dips often precede stabilization or rallies upon approval. Why is Litecoin important, you may ask? It's the digital silver, right? So it is kind of important. What else was I going to mention about Litecoin? Yeah, so realistically, I think we just have to wait until, yeah, that date. What did it say? May 25th? Or 26th? I don't remember the date. So it's going to take a while, right? But I still think once that does get approved, whenever it gets approved, we'll already be a little bit higher because of FOMO and just altcoins following what Bitcoin does, and then we'll continue to see upward movement from there. So unfortunately for now, Litecoin is stuck at $83.29. Last coin I'll check is Cardano, 1.60% down today, 0.66 cents. Similar deal, testing a critical support. I would say, yeah, around this area. We'll call it the super trend, 64 cents, as long as we can stay above that. We can keep our uptrend. This could just easily be just a readjustment, depending if we bounce upward from here. Hopefully so. Otherwise, it's going to be similar case that we have with XRP, although none of it would surprise me nonetheless, because Cardano also has this, a very long-term downtrend that it would have to break. But I think this is actually so far away that it's just irrelevant. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, everybody's looking at Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's looking at that FOMC results, what is going to happen by then. That's all I have for your daily crypto analysis. Let's move on to some news. I already talked a little about that. Litecoin ETF, not much else going on with the ETFs. Unfortunately, it did get delayed. That's why we're seeing a bit of a drop, but that's fine. Trump is set to raise millions this month through 2 crypto-focused dinners. The first one you're already familiar with, probably. It's going to be happening on May 22nd is when he posted this. A Trump National Gala dinner is what he's doing it. GetTrumpMemes.com. If the top 220, 240, I forget the number, the top holders of the Trump meme coin are automatically invited to a dinner with Trump. That's pretty cool. I've mentioned it before. I did not buy any Trump tokens though, because yeah, I don't have that kind of money. Even if I threw my whole net worth on that coin, I'd probably lose half of it, and I will still not have enough to have a dinner with Trump. So, yeah, I'm just shooting myself in the foot at that point. But the other thing that he's doing is it's another dinner. It's a $1.5 million per plate fundraiser. So there's people, if you don't want to buy Trump's token, you pay $1.5 million and you get a dinner with Trump. I mean, yeah, that's another way to do it. Exactly. And what will the meal even be? Probably just hamburgers. People are posting memes about that, like, oh, your dinner is just going to be McDonald's. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty funny. No, I expect something fancy, though. Also, like, people, especially, like, left-wing people, I think, they were all questioning, like, hey, Trump, are you, like, getting rich off of this whole Trump meme coin token thing? How much money have you made with it? He's denied all those claims, like, I don't even know. I don't even look at it, so I don't know. He generally doesn't know. So I don't know, maybe he's lying. Surely he knows. Surely he knows. He's making bank with that. Why? Because I would be doing the same thing if I had that kind of power. He has 94% of his crypto on the Ethereum blockchain, and we know how undervalued Ethereum is, given this significant drop from $4,000 to a measly $1,800. And Trump has a lot of Ethereum. Trump and his sons under the World Liberty Financial portfolio, right? So he's got to make his money somehow, right? If it's going to be with crypto. Ethereum will rise eventually also. Like, Trump will have to do something about this. He can self-pump his own bags by, you know, doing something with that strategic crypto reserve that was announced before. That would be ideal, interesting, right? It'll help all of us that have Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Cardano, and Bitcoin. Yeah, I was looking for another altcoin, but yeah, Bitcoin's included in there. And also today was supposed to be the day of that Bitcoin Strategic Reserve announcement of how they're going to be purchasing more. And I don't think we got any updates on that, did we? I'm going to look it up. Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. Why is my caps lock on? Florida strategic reserves have failed. Yeah, we know. Today is May 5th. It's the deadline for Treasury Secretary to deliver an evaluation for establishing and managing this Bitcoin strategic reserve as mandated in Trump's March 6 executive order. And we did not get anything, I think. Unless they release it at midnight. Who knows? Is this Scott Bessent? I think it is. You must submit a report. Okay, I know. Focusing on using the 200,000 seized bitcoins, which is valued at $17 billion, to diversify national reserves. Wants the U.S. the U.S. to be the crypto capital of the world. Okay. Salvador is already doing that. Yeah, we know. European Central Bank opposes Bitcoin reserves. We're going to talk about Europe. They're the worst. And yeah, well, it seems like nothing's come of that yet, unfortunately. So no updates on that. Big nothing burger. But Bitcoin doesn't really care, I don't think. It's probably better if they don't even announce it. It's probably going to be something really dumb and the market will just overreact and have a sell-off once again. Yeah, so it's probably better if we just stay quiet and try to forget it ever happened, I guess. I showed you guys this yesterday, and I was right. The next day, MicroStrategy, after posting that chart of needs more orange, which means he's probably going to buy more, he bought more. He bought 1,895 Bitcoins, valued at $180 million, at an average price of roughly 95,100 per Bitcoin. He's achieved a Bitcoin yield of 14.0% year-to-date 2025. As of May 4, he now has 555,450 Bitcoins acquired for a total of $38 billion at an average price of 68,000 per Bitcoin. That's pretty cool. Good for him. I wanted to mention one more thing. Oh yeah, he was also trying to raise the $57 billion to buy even more Bitcoin, which would get him another 600,000 Bitcoin, right? Approximately, which would make him the top Bitcoin holder if he literally does that right now. Next in line, of course, we know could be the United States, will be Satoshi Nakamoto, will be, I think, Binance or other exchanges as well, etc. Maybe, hopefully, China gets involved, starts buying Bitcoin like crazy. That'd be pretty funny. I don't think they will. Riot Platforms, I think they announced their earnings today. This is a Bitcoin mining company that is on the stock exchange, Riot Platforms. Indeed, they had their earnings today, which earnings per share is a bit less. The revenue was a win, though, so a bit mixed. Kind of rose over here. When did they announce it? In the post-market, May 1st. So this is their market's honest reaction to that information. This was yesterday then. Yeah, I'm blind, sorry. This happened yesterday. And we've been dropping from there. Given this news now, apparently they are selling their Bitcoins. They sold some. They mined 463 Bitcoin in April. The network experienced 2 successive difficulty adjustments during the month. April was a significant month for Riot. They closed on the acquisition of all the tangible assets of rhodium at a Rockdale facility, including 125 MW, is that megawatts, of power capacity, and mutually ended all outstanding litigation. This transaction ends the hosting agreement with our last hosting client and marks the complete exit of Riot from the Bitcoin mining hosting business. What? Does that mean they're going to stop mining Bitcoin? Probably because it's too expensive? So usually less Bitcoin than what they mine. I think it's probably starting to become unprofitable to mine Bitcoin. The price needs to go higher then. The company completed its exit from the Bitcoin mining hosting business by acquiring Rhodium's 125 megawatt at the Rockdale facility, ending a loss-making hosting contract. Oh, okay, so they're improving. I think it's what that means. Yeah. And then this also got announced that Riot Platforms is also selling their Bitcoin and reported that they sold the 475 Bitcoins in April for $38 million. So that was already from before. And today, they just moved another $6.7 million in Bitcoin to NYDIG. Are they selling even more this month? Possibly, depending on how much what they mine. It seems like it's starting to become a little bit unprofitable. So we'll see what happens. Okay. This is one of the things I wanted to point out about alt season. Will we be getting an alt season? Yes, we will. Short answer. Will all the altcoins be getting an alt season? The answer is probably not. There are lots of failed crypto projects throughout the years. There's a lot of dilution. There's way too many options, way too many blockchains, way too many coins that just do the same thing. And are, the only ones that are up here are the ones that are trustworthy, the ones that are faster, efficient, and cheaper, right? If it's too good to be true as well, those are probably not going to be that popular, right? And usually for good reason, because they will usually fail. This year alone, 1,821,549 crypto coins have failed this year. 2024, I mean, we're already beating what happened in 2024. Just imagine that. I'm pretty sure a lot of this is also, it has to do with meme coins. Shout out Solana, thank you for diluting our markets, but it's whatever. The study also showed that as of March 31st, 1.8 million cryptocurrency projects have already failed this year, marking the highest number of failures recorded in a single year. And we're not even done the year. That's already half of cryptocurrencies have died since 2021. That's not that great. But I mean, it could be good in the fact that it filters out tokens that you should not buy. And you should only be buying the safest ones. If you want to be speculative, I mean, I wouldn't go further than top 100. There are some coins in here that I do like and I do also hold or have held before. Like Atom, Sonic, previously Phantom, one of my previous favorites. I've tried Jupiter, but I didn't really like it. Stacks, I know, is a good project. It's just not that far up there. What else we got? I mean, if you want to trade gold, you can do Tether Gold, but that's not Not a good idea, in my opinion. Just buy the real gold. Unless you want to do it in a decentralized manner, that's fine. What else do we got? I mean, the Trump meme coin is there. Yeah, really not much else. I have Kronos because I use Crypto.com. Polygon, it's kind of dead, but it's still a good project. I know Near Protocol will probably be fine with this whole AI narrative. If AI does well in 2025, this token will also benefit from that. How is Render? I've not seen... Here's Render. Yeah, it's definitely fallen far from grace. Aptos is a good project. Pi, I have to investigate more about that. Monero. People are betting on Monero. Anti-EU stuff. And we'll talk about EU here. Because the European Union will be banning anonymous crypto accounts by July 2027. That means that every transaction that is worth above 1,000 euros will now require ID or KYC, stuff like that. So they're really cracking down on this whole anti-privacy thing. They want everything to be public. The government wants control, is basically what this is. And we know how messed up that is, the whole ordeal going on in Europe. They're anti-crypto, like I showed you with the previous post. Right? The central bank digital currency is what they want. What else are they doing here? Look, even banning like TikTok. The reason for them, apparently, they didn't ban TikTok, sorry. They fined TikTok $600 million for violating a European Union data privacy law for sending user data to China. I mean, that was kind of known already. And it was attempted to get banned even in the United States, but ultimately they undid that as long as TikTok gets purchased by a US company. We don't want it owned by a Chinese company. I think we're still waiting for that. I don't remember any updates for that whole TikTok scenario, but yeah, that's what we have. HBAR I know is good. Stellar, I've heard it'll be fine as well. There's better projects than Avalanche. Chainlink will be great. Sui will be awesome. Tron I wouldn't trust much. Cardano will be good. Dogecoin wouldn't trust much. Solana will be great. XRP will be good. Ethereum will be good. Bitcoin will be great for this cycle. Like, literally, I don't have any interest in investing in any of the rest of these coins. Maybe Pepe if I'm feeling a little spicy, but no, that's pretty much it. Either Pepe or Trump for my favorite meme coins. All right. I also wanted to talk about this. Binance has partnered with the Central Asian nation called Kyrgyzstan to launch crypto payments and blockchain education. CZ is making big moves in like this whole Central Asia part. He had that he became the crypto advisor, sorry, for Pakistan. We have news on that from before. And also he's recommended that how do I say this? Kyrgyzstan he's recommending them to adopt Bitcoin and Binance as the first assets in their national crypto reserve. We also know that Bhutan, for example, is also starting to buy a lot of Bitcoin. So, there's a lot of countries getting in on it. Kyrgyzstan is next. Pakistan is already there. United Arab Emirates, we know for sure. Yeah. Well, we'll see how much, they can do. I don't know if these countries are rich or not. I don't think they really are that rich. I know UAE is rich, probably. And of course the bias is there. He's telling them to buy Binance coin because, I mean, he's literally the Binance founder, right? CZ, smart, bold move. And also Bitcoin, a classic. You must have Bitcoin if you're going to be investing in crypto. It's just what's genuinely required. There was also this news. There was a Nomad Bridge exploit hack. This hacker was responsible for stealing $190 million in user funds, and he got arrested in Israel. Do we have any more information on this? So, the guy who got arrested, Alexander Gurevich, is a dual Russian-Israeli citizen in Israel for the 2022 Nomad Bridge hack, which resulted. This has happened in 2022, by the way. $190 million cryptocurrency theft. I'm pretty sure I did mention this kind of hack back when we were looking at all the previous hacks that had to do. It brought attention from the Bybit hack when North Korea hacked Bybit and stole their Ethereum. I shared a post that showed all the hacks before that, the crypto scams, and I'm pretty sure this one was on that list. Gurevich allegedly exploited a smart contract vulnerability in Nomad's system, initiating the theft of $2.89 million, which then escalated into a free-for-all as 88 copycat wallets drained 88 million more, revealing the chaotic nature of DeFi exploits as noted in Coinbase's on-chain data analysis. The arrest at Ben Gurion Airport, where Gurevich attempted to flee to Russia with false documents, underscores the challenges of operational security, OPSEC, for cybercriminals, as blockchain security expert Peter Kaczerginski pointed out, emphasizing how poor OPSEC often leads to their downfall. Great. Yeah, don't do scams. NVIDIA, this is fake news, but I'm going to read it anyway, is reportedly exploring the possibility of adding Bitcoin to its balance sheet. I did share this before. It was technically supposed to be a rumor, but then people started thinking that it was true. So you get posts like this as if they're actually going to be doing, but the keyword is reportedly exploring the possibility of adding Bitcoin. But it would still be good, and I've talked about this before, NVIDIA buying Bitcoin. NVIDIA's top number 3 company in the world. So it would be great if they did. Maybe. Bottom line is institutions, countries, they're all getting in on it. They will get in on it eventually. Skype, by the way, is gone. Just thought I'd share that. Rest in peace to Skype, and that is all. There you go. 37-minute stream. Nice. Bitcoin is kind of coming down a little bit right now, 94,300. SUI is also on its way down. XRP, I'm assuming, is also on a free fall, almost. Yeah, we'd have to test the support here. What test? I think we're going to break out of that easily and just drop to around this area, $2. $2.01, $2.02, $2.03. Maybe around that zone. Okay, cool. I won't be streaming tomorrow. I'll be busy. And then Wednesday I'll be back after the FOMC craze has gone by to give you guys any updates and an analysis on how things went and what the projections will be going forward. So stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe if you have it. I will start turning off comments because I can't stand reporting all these bots. Nobody comments on it anyway. So yeah, that's it.